Good morning, students. In the previous video, that is yesterday, we talked about uh, uh, the religion part. As when you look at the salient points, we had covered till religion and domestication of animals. If you remember, in the earlier videos, we had discussed about the importance of agriculture, but then agriculture was important for all the ancient and the old civilizations, not just Indus Valley, but what is very specific to Indus Valley civilization is that we do not find much of trace about the use of horses when it came to farming or when it came to plowing the fields, which was prevalent in the contemporary civilizations around the world. Uh, uh, but let me also bring out a very important point here, though it's not there in the chapter. But when we discuss Indus Valley civilization, it gives an impression that we are speculating a lot. But most of the times we take a certain thread and it goes to a dead end. We are not able to come with a very definitive conclusion on a lot of things. But this is because the most important fact that not much research has been done by the historians or the archaeologists in these sites. So whatever we know of has been because of the diggings and because of the findings and the research that has been done primarily in the areas or rather the sites which are in India. But the most important sites of Indus Valley civilization, that is Harappa and Mohenjo-daro, both of them are in present-day Pakistan. And it's very difficult to really unearth the truth there because the Pakistani government has never been very cooperative because of their, the reason being very obvious that they would never like to admit the fact that they were themselves part of the Indus civilization, because they have always, after 1947, they've always branded themselves as coming from people with Arabian lineage, though it's a facade, it's a lie which every Pakistani is also aware of, but then the government of Pakistan has to carry on with this lie. So that's one of the very important reasons why we have not yet been able to come up with definitive conclusions about a lot of things when it comes to Indus Valley civilization. But you have to understand that there is unmistakable truth about this fact as well, that most of the things that used to be there in Indus Valley civilization, whether it was 2,000 years ago or whether 5,000 years ago, whatever the dates we would like to put in as, that is, 2,000 before Christ, of course, or probably 3,000 before Christ. But then there has been an enormous amount of influence when it comes to Indus Valley civilization. Whatever artifact has been found, whatever terracotta figurines have been found, it is almost like the same thing that we do in many parts of India even today. It's nothing that there is no connection with today's India, with the India of Indus Valley civilization, not at all. It's not just about the presence of Pashupati or about the first Jayantirthankara Rishabh or about the three-headed a man, which a lot of us think it is some kind of Brahma, that is the Supreme Father who created this universe. So it's not just about that, even to the extent of use of bulls and oxen in their farming. Even in those times, they never used horses. Even today, you would not see in any part of India a farmer using horses for plowing his fields. We still use bulls, right? Yes. So, and not just that, even the bullock carts with a frame canopy, that you see in most of the rural India, is all from there. You have small toys made of terracotta, which again show the same kind of bullock carts which you use in India today. And one thing very important, the most famous, I won't call it a statue, but then the most famous figurine which you have found, which really typifies Indus Valley civilization, is that of a dancing girl. Now, if you see that if you see that figurine, the woman is very slim, has thicker lips, and that's what has given credence to this argument that Indus Valley people must have come from South India, because the people, the women and the men from that part of Indian subcontinent do not have such thick lips. Okay, even today that is. But if you notice the dancing woman, she has bangles. If you notice her properly, she even has ponytails. Right? That clearly shows a sense of fashion, a sense of beauty, where a woman, the way she, the kind of confidence with which she has put one of her arms in her waist, the dancing girl, it gives you a sense of confidence. It does not give you a sense of people who were under some kind of a subjugation, or who were the people who were suppressed, or they were just coming out of their jungles and just trying to find a place for themselves. It clearly is not. It is very much an urban setup. It is very much an urban civilization. So there is, and this sophistication is not just there when it comes to the beauty and the town planning, but it is also very much there in the apparent uniformity of weights and measures. The common script, though we have not been able to read this and decipher the script, but the script is common. It's the same script that you have found in different sites of Indus Valley. And so it definitely, there is a sophistication in the administrative structure, because if you look at the area which comes under, or rather when you take the sites which come under Indus Valley civilization, it is much, much bigger than Pakistan, the current Pakistan, because it includes the current Pakistan, and includes a lot many towns in India as well. So definitely it was a big geography. And then if you have in such a huge geography standardization of things, right, that then it clearly is talking about some kind of structure which is managed by intelligent people who understand why those things are important. Right? We are not talking about amateurish, or if not an amateurish, a juvenile kind of civilization. Certainly not. Okay. Now, definitely there is a certain measure of political and economic control, and which definitely cannot be denied. But then, whether they had a system of kingship, or if this uniformity is pointing towards kingship, we don't know, as we discussed yesterday, that the concept of king and emperor, supreme ruler, like we had in Egyptian civilization, where the pharaoh was literally the god on earth, whether in the civilizations of Incas or Aztecs, the kings again had a great divinity about him. We do not find those evidences or traces. At least we haven't found them till now. If you remember, you had seen those maps where most of the Indus Valley civilization sites are around our rivers. But then there's a very important site in Balochistan, which is bordering Pakistan and present-day Afghanistan and Pakistan. Certain experts believe that Balochistan. And the last point here, students, is uniformity. Now, uniformity is not just about the uniformity in the administrative setup, but uniformity is also about the sense of commonness which you find in different facets of Indus Valley civilization, whether it is about use of certain materials, whether it is about preferences for certain things, whether it is about the state machinery. Of course, maybe the word state machinery should not be used, but some kind of a social machinery. The uniformity is also about one of, let us discuss, one of the very important things which give a particular character to Indus Valley civilization, which is the prevalence of use of bricks, which is the prevalence has been extensive and very, very elaborate in different parts of the civilization. But the most common building material at every site is brick. Okay, now you can say, you can think that, so what's so special about it that, even today we use bricks most of the times, and that's precisely the point which we just raised about a few minutes ago, that whatever the things we did at 5,000 years ago from now, we continue that tradition. How many homes in India do you see that people use stones? Very few. Very few. We still go for bricks, and it was the same situation in the Indus Valley times, where they had a preference for bricks but not stones. And of course, the proportion of burnt brick to the unburnt one, that is the sun-dried brick, varied depending from area to area. For example, Mohenjo-daro has, you would see more and more of the burnt brick, that is the brick which has been fired. So it could be probably they liked it that way, but it could also be, in my opinion, because timber was more readily available in the areas, because Mohenjo-daro happens to be in southern part of Pakistan. And if you talk about Harappa, those areas, as you start going towards northern part of Pakistan, that is today, and further into Afghanistan, naturally there is more and more scarcity of water. The land becomes more and more arid. So Mohenjo-daro extensively uses the burnt brick, and interestingly, Kalibangan, on the other hand, where the burnt brick is specifically used. It's not that prevalent. It's specifically used for drainage, bathrooms, those kind of things where water has to be always used. So you need something more solid, something which can handle water. So Kalibangan was more of the burnt and less of a burnt and more of the mud type, where it was sun-dried, because the homes were usually made using that kind of brick. So, this is also a very important facet about uniformity. That is, it's even the building materials that have been used. It's in all the sites. You hardly see the use of bricks. We shall continue. Thanks.